it, even though that is like a bit not complete, like I think it might have asked made you to kickstart your Android development. And today I probably take a session about Scrollable List, which is a recycler view, and I will touch base with some activities and fragments. What is the life cycle? Why life cycle is very important, and we'll talk about implicit and explicit intents to navigate from one page to another. If I have time, then I will touch base with navigation graph. I will just quickly explain it in some 10 to 15 minutes if I have time. So hope I get that. And before I start, like I just want to start with a Slido. It's a very simple question. Just hope guys don't mind answering it. Yeah, it's 981,589. And the question is how much you guys are concerned about app privacy. So I know many of you guys use Android phones, smartphones, iOS, or whatever. So are you concerned about app privacy, or you just like you just install app and give like contact permission or location permission on without caring, you concerned about the product feature that you want, or you concerned about privacy, say any kind of app that asks you to refer someone which asks contact permission, right? Are you okay with it by giving, if they give you some extra 10, 20 rupees or 50 rupees, are you okay with it by giving the contact permission, or like are you guys are so concerned about it? Cool. I see few have not concerned at all. Okay, so according to me, right, I sometimes concerned, sometimes not concerned, depends upon which app I use. I initially had so much of concern over some apps, and later I started giving permission. So for me, it's sometimes concern. I see sometimes concern is 0%, and now it's 7. Yeah, I'm not like very much concerned and all. Anyways, that's a good thing to know. And jumping to our session, right? Like scrollable list, right? I've asked you guys to try out this layout, single layout with an icon and text view and text view and another text view at the bottom. I hope some of you would have done. Anyways, if you have not done, no problem, I will do it now. So as usual, we start off opening Android Studio and create a new project and start with empty activity. And this one, we name it as scrollable app. Right. So the one thing that we want to do scrollable list, right? When you create a view, when you create a view group, probably we can run it in for loop and put it across. That is one way of doing it. That works, but that's not the way we should do it. Why? Because view is considered as a memory, so that memory is being run on apps memory. So Android, how it does is like each app is allocated some memory, and you should use it within that memory. When you run a view group in for loop and generate a full list, right, what ideally happens is it generates lots of memory which is not ideally used by the user itself. User sees only first 10 elements in the screen, but you would have loaded like thousands of objects in the memory which is unused. So there is high chance your app crashes, saying of over usage of memory, and your app it is called as out of memory exception that happens, and your app crashes. So what Android came up with to solve the solution is something called Recyclerview. The name resembles, right? What is the name itself says? It's recycles it. What it recycles is it creates a view you creating one row of item, and Android decides like, okay, for this particular device, for this particular dimension, it takes like 10 rows is visible to the user, and it caches another 3 rows. So totally 13 rows are visible to the user. So it creates 13 objects only. Now, if the user scrolls above 13, what happens? The view will stay as it is. Only the data changes. Whatever the whatever the views that you have created inside, like icon or text or something, these objects still stays there. That's, I mean, the UI will not redraw all these rows. It will just keeps it. Only the data elements only changes it. So it actually creates only 13 rows and recycles remaining by changing the data alone. That is the idea behind Recyclerview. And creating is not, not simply like putting data to some class and it generates it automatically. No, it's not like you have to write a minimalistic of code. And over the period of time, I think everything you see in Android app is built with Recyclerview. Any scrollable items that you see in any Android app, it's built with Recyclerview. So it's high time like you need to understand it and use it, right? So now we create an empty project. What we do, the first thing that we do is we go to the build resources, and we go here and we create a build features and add view binding equals true. Yesterday we said that this build feature is required in order to initialize the view binding elements in the app. So I think there is a syntax error. Right. Every time you change in build Gradle, you have to sync it. So now you have changed, you have added a build feature. It will generate a binding class for you. Now you go to your main activity, and you will see something like we have to write like private late init where binding equals activity main binding. This class would have been generated by this time. So when you added so type is activity main. Now we have to change it here. Binding equals activity main dot inflate layout inflator, and set content view. We change it with binding dot filter. Right. So now we started using binding mode instead of using directly with we find view by ID. That's the one change. And the other is we are going to create this Recyclerview, right? So this Recyclerview, how are we going to do it is we going to create this one row alone. One row only we are going to design it and give it to Recyclerview. What Recyclerview does, with this one row, it identifies and creates how much our rows it wants until the user visibles to the user. Say 13 rows, say here like 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 to 7 rows are visible to the user, so it generates a memory only for 6 rows, right? Now for that, for one row to create, we shouldn't create that directly in our activity, because that one row is not going to reside in it. We are going to show the entire row in our activity, right? So one row we have to create it separately in a layout file. Say we have to create a new layout resource file, and say contacts single row. We have created it, and inside this contact singles row we are going to create an image view, a text view, and text view. So three views. So our view group is constraint layout. Inside this, we are going to create three views. One is image view. We have to give wrap content, and wrap content will come to width and height later. So for now, we create this image view alone. And to look at this editor, right, we want to see it, right? So for that, we can give something like tools. See imported. For importing anything, you have to press alt enter, and options enter in Mac. Tools, we can create some drawable and use it, right? So these tools will not come in actual app. It's just for visualizing here during development, right? And layout width and height, we can keep it something around 50 dp, 50 dp. That would be like, right? And we can say like and we have to give 8 dp padding, right? I told you 8 dp. Okay, let's give margin then. Yeah. Now that we have added our image view, let's add text view. Which should be wrap content, and height also wrap content. Let's say we are going to put text as tools text. We put something like forest. For just dummy name, we can put that, and top 8 dp and left 8 dp. Right. Now we have to put another text view. That is wrap content. What wrap content is, if you put a width as wrap content, it just whatever the text comes accordingly, the text view enlarges. If you put match parent, whatever the parent is, it will go until that only. So maybe for this one, you can put like match parent also. But if you put, it will stretch it to your parent size is full, right? So that's why we can put wrap content. And next also we can put like right. Now that we have designed a single view, we can make a height. There is one single row also, it's there, right? If you see, there is one single line is there. We can also put that also. Somehow I'm not able to get out of this. That single line, how can we put this? Like we use view and the height should be like 2 dp we can put, and background is like say black color. For moving it, let's say we'll put like 20 dp and move it here. And let's make it like 2 dp. It looks so ugly. We put like let's put it here. Yeah, and I've given match parent set. Let's say with content height. Hmm. And the color black seems like too odd. Let's give the color gray or something. Light background. No. Okay, instead of like you don't know what color you need to give, let's go here and find it like with color picker we can find it. Online color picker. Maybe this color will be fine. Let's take this. You can go to Android Studio and go to colors.xml. You put shift double tap, you will find a search window where you can search all classes in it. And you go to colors.xml and put your color here. Color gray. And access this gray color here. Maybe we can add some more margin. Sure. Now we have created it. We have created a single row. We have to attach it with Recyclerview and add it. So before that, like let's create a dummy data. Like we create a function, private fun get data. And before that, we have to create a model for it. Like what model is like you have like 3 data in it, right? Like a image and your text and title text and subtitle text. So let's create a model, say create a class which has this 3 information. Kotlin, for creating model class, there is something called data class in Kotlin. You don't have to do lots of boilerplate code if you're going to use only for model. So let's use data class for it. Let's name it as right, and the values would be where okay, where title string, subtitle and image icon of int, because we are going to access drawable. So drawable is of type. Fun private data of return type would be list of contacts data, right? So this list is a collect of data type collection. So collections, what we are ideally doing is we are going to create this contacts data. It is only one row data, and we are going to create a list of it. And list is an interface, and it requires what type is going to create a list out of it. So we are creating a type of context data. So that is that is the meaning of this particular thing, what we have put the return type. So for that, like, we are going to generate the data. There is something called repeat. Say we are going to create 40 rows, right? Inside the repeat function, what we can do is, right, before that we have to create an object for this data. Val data equals mutable list. Let's say it's mutable list. What is mutable list? Is list where you can modify the data. I mean, add or remove data in it. If you create the list alone, you cannot add data to it. You just copy. You can able to copy it. But if you create mutable list, you can add. But here we are going to add the data, right? So hence we are creating mutable list, and we are creating array list, as you would have learned from data structure, right? What array list is. So this list, we are going to add like list in a particular order, the same order we need to retain. So that's why we have created as array list, and we are going to add context data and title. Let's say we name it like that. Value equals 0, equals 1. Say dollar value title text value and image. Let's add one image to a drawable list. Say you go to image and new or vector asset, and you click on clip art, you will find like all of the icons that are available in material design. These are given for free, like we can use it without any issues with say copyright. Let's add some image, like person. This seems fine. Okay. A black one is fine, and 24 dp. Let's create 50 dp because we created it for 50, right? So color is fine. Finish and add that image. Dot toggle dot. So now this will create like 40 rows and add it to the data, and we have to return it. Return data. Right. We have created a function which has this data, and we are returning it. And let's create our Recyclerview code here. So for that, we need to create something called adapter. What Recyclerview does here is Recyclerview creates recycle elements through something called adapter pattern. If you would have learned something about design patterns, there is something called adapter pattern is there. Recyclerview is written like adapter pattern. So we have to create an adapter pattern here. How to create it? Let's do that now. Let's create an adapter. We name it as contacts adapter. It's a normal class. And contacts, inside contacts adapter, let's create another inner class. What this class is view holder. So individual row elements is called as view holder. View holder holds the view without memory losing out of it, and just it changes the data. So your adapter is an overall recycler view, and inside that we are creating a view holder, that single row. That is what we are creating an inner class called as view holder. Say contacts view holder. And before that, very important thing, if you want to use recycler view, we have to add the dependency of recycler view. So just search like Recyclerview dependency. You will find a Recyclerview dependency here. You need to add it here. Otherwise, you will not get the Recyclerview. So you go to the module where you find the all dependencies and add it, and click sync now to download the Recyclerview dependency. Once it's downloaded, the AR is added to the project. Now you can access Recyclerview. So class text holder, which extends view holder class. Recyclerview view holder class. And this throws error because it requires a view element. Let's say val right. Make view private, no problem. And we are going to access this individual view through find view by ID. So we have to create ID for this. This is where we are going to access our text view and modify it. So let's create IDs for it. We haven't created it here. Compat image, refactor it. It might have already created for you sometimes, and you can go and refactor it. Avatar image title TV. TV is short form for text view, and title. Yeah. Now coming to context. Image avatar u dot find view by d dot id dot val dot subtitle TV. Right. Now that we have created view holder and extended, this is like extension inheritance. So if you know oops concept, like we are extending the recycler view holder class to do some of the work. So we have extended it and we pass the view to it. And before that, like we have created individual view object from it and accessed it here. Why we have done it, I will explain you that. Now in your adapter class, you have to extend Recyclerview dot adapter, and you have to pass this view holder class as type to it. Context view holder. Once you have done it, it will be on red. Like it will ask, it's an abstract class and it will ask some of the functions to implement. Let's implement those. And if you would have known like what is abstract class, you will know this, what are these functions, why we are doing it. So now that we have created for Recyclerview to run successfully, right, it requires like these three functions to run, and it requires like view holder class to be passed. So that's why before doing that, we have created this view holder class and passed it here, and we generated it. So what on create view holder, what we have to do is with this view group, whatever the view group that we are trying to do, we have to inflate the individual Recyclerview XML that we have created. We have to inflate it here. So let's see, like parent layout inflator. Let's see the syntax, like even I forget it many times. Layout inflated dot from vgroup dot context and inflate. Okay. Let's copy it. Layout inflated dot. This is not required. Parent. This is not required. And the name of the XML that we have created is contact single row. So what it does is from layout inflator, it is accessing this view group context and inflating it with the single row. So this single row is added to the memory, and that view object is created here. Now we have to return a contact view holder that we have created the class for it, right? Contact view holder, and pass this view object to it, right? So this view object that you have created, right, will be again passed to the onBind view holder. So what onBind view holder does is each row that we are creating, right, it will call this function. Inside this function, we are going to map the data to it. So for that, like you need to pass the list object to this class. So let's create a constructor and pass the list object to it. Well, contacts data equals list of is a type of, right. So this contacts data, we have to pass it as this int, the get item count. Total number of rows will be like this of size, right? So item count will be the size, like maximum number of size will be the total contacts data size, which is something around 40 that we created, right? We created it for 40. And coming to your adapter in onBind view holder, what we have to do is holder dot, this holder object is your contacts view holder. So from this three object, we are going to modify its data. How are we going to do is holder dot avatar view dot set image resource. We are going to take from context data of position dot image, right? So from context data, we are accessing the position. So each row, when user is scrolling, this position count will change and the corresponding data will be populated in each row. So this is the data manipulation that it does. And folder dot title view text equals context data position dot title, right? And folder dot subtitle view text equals context data position dot subtitle. So what we are doing is like we are populating the data to it. Whenever user scrolls, this function will be called, and whatever the contact view holder that it keeps, like 13 view holder it creates, right? That 13 view holder, it changes the data to it using the position element, right? Now our adapter class is completed. Let's go to your main activity, and inside our binding we have to create a recycler view class. So instead of, you remove this text view, and let's create a recycler view. With this match parent height is wrap content, and it throws error because it's not constrained. Let's constrain it. We have constrained it. Let's go to our main activity and access it. You have to put ID to it. Let's say contact club. Binding dot contact recycler has come, and to initialize recycler view, right, we have to set two things. One is setting which view group it is going to access. So that view group is what going to come here. Here the view group will come as like which type of view group it is going to have. We are going to give the view group as linear layout. Linear layout, like it is going to be the one after another, right? So let's give something like, that's why linear layout view group is one after another. If you give constraint layout, you have to give constraints. So that's kind of very difficult, right? Linear layout just puts all the elements next to another. So let's use linear layout. Layout manager and binding dot context adapter. We need to add the adapter, right? What is our adapter? Our adapter is context adapter. Context adapter. And for context adapter, we have to pass the data, right? And pass get data. Right. So now that we have completed our code, let's run it and try it. So this adapter code, right? You will be like writing it like many times for each and every screen. So you have to memorize it, like at least like it will become like your thing to use it frequently. So you need to know like what each of these are doing it. So here you see this weird, right? This weird gap between these things. Like, anybody guess like why it's like that? Because what mistake we have done is in our individual row, right? If we go and see it, we have given something like the parent layout of this individual row is height. We have given as match parent. Match parent is it takes the entire screen. So that's why this one row takes entire screen. We have to put it, change it to wrapped content. When we do that, the maximum size of this one will become a single row. So now that we run it, you will see this gets generated in single row. So you can run it in for loop and generate this view that generates, but that will crash after you scroll it sometime. But if you use it Recyclerview, you will see the smooth scrolling, and the scrolling will be like so fluid and so smooth because it recycles the memory. The app won't struggle. App won't struggle getting the memory and anything of this sort. Only 13 elements are generated. After you cross this, it just changes the data. And here you see everything is value 1. Why is it? Because we didn't update it, right? Value plus plus. Yeah, now the value is updated. You see title 1, 2, 3, and corresponding up to 40 elements, right? Okay. So recycler views are, again, I say recycler views are very much needed. Like you have to understand this concept and you have to keep working on this, creating multiple adapter class. But if you start using compose, jetpack compose is something new thing. If you would have seen it, follow Android more, I've started using jetpack compose in my projects. If you start using jetpack compose, you don't need Recyclerview at all. It's like very simple code, simple writing, and it's completely restructuring. You will not use XML at all if you use Jetpack Compose. So it's something similar to Flutter and React Native, using declarative approach of programming. So if you want to learn Compose, because future is going to be Compose, there won't be any XML at all. If you want to learn Compose, you can go ahead and learn Compose. It's like very cool thing, and you don't need to write like this much of boilerplate code at all. It's kind of very simple. Like with few lines of code, you can do everything that you need. Okay. Any question, guys? Let's see. If you have any questions, just post it in chats. Let's see. Let's touch base this life cycle part alone, and I will give you for break of 15 minutes, like 7 o'clock break. I'll just take like 10 to 20 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of your time for this life cycle. So Android or per se, like any mobile device have something called life cycle. What is life cycle is, say for example, your phone, like you're using WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is like using your app, and suddenly you're getting one call, right? And you will see the call on top and you click on it. Now your call is another app. I mean, the call comes is from phone app, right? Phone is another app. So phone app comes to your foreground, and your WhatsApp goes to the background. Now WhatsApp is not at all visible to the user, and only phone is visible to the user. Something like, yes, say now I am in this app, and then I click on this, and then I go to this app, and this app comes to the foreground, but still this app is in the background. When you click on it, it launches right away. So this state changes, right? Like it happens, right? In any app, this is called as Android lifecycle. Say your activity, your Android is made up of activities. All Android apps, this entire page, starting from this part to this part, is made up of activity. This home screen, right, that you're seeing, this is also an activity built by launcher. There is something called launcher app. That app, if you use this app is preloaded in Pixel phone, so you won't see it as an app. But in other phones, like if you want to use Google Pixel launcher, you install it. This will this itself as a home screen. It starts from here to here. Whatever you see is entirely in activity only. So when you launch your activity, say any app like roller dice, you launch it, this activity on create will be called, and whatever that data that you want to take it from a server, or you want to do some modification, draw your UI, everything you will do it in on create. After that, on start will be called, and after you get your data, everything is initialized. When the activity is visible to the user, that time on resume will be called, and you will see this. Then your app goes to background. Now on pause will be called, and when you move to some other app and your app is completely not visible to the user, on stop will be called. And what you do ideally, like if you go here and say you cleared the app from reasons, on destroy will be called. What is this on create, on start, on resume? It's like, I'll explain that here. In your activity, right, you are extending app compat activity. Inside that, this on create is there. It's an override function, which means it's already there in your super class. And you have like on resume, on restart, and you have on start, on pause, and you have on destroy, and you have on stop, right? So these are the functions will be called whenever this activity lifecycle changes in any app. Why do we need this, right? That question comes to your mind, right? Why do we need this? Is because, say for example, like you are accessing some features like a location or Bluetooth, or say you're calling a network API during that time, right? And suddenly there is a phone call happens and the user moves out of your app, and your app goes to background, and he moves to something like a phone app, right? And he, after he completed his call, say this app is something like a banking app. He uses some, enter some Aadhaar number, credit card number, everything he's entering. He in between he got on call, and he moved out and he attended his call, right? Now he comes back again. He should see where he stopped previously, right? He entered all the data. That data should be there. Otherwise, like, the user will be frustrated, right? Whatever the data I've entered is not there, then again I have to enter it again, right? So for that, what you have to do, you should not hold all the memory intensive resources when the app goes to background, because the phone gives priority to the app which is in the foreground. So if this caller app takes like so much of memory, you are recording call, you are recording call, or you are doing a conference call, and you are consuming lots of memory, right? What Android does is, Android will try to see if the other app in the background is consuming more memory. If it consumes more memory, it straight away goes there and kills it. When Android kills the app, right, this on destroy will be called. When on destroy calls, you need to store what all the data he has entered so far, and when he comes back again, you have to retrieve it and populate it. That's the idea behind this callbacks, and you have to use it. Otherwise you will give bad user experience, bad feature to user, where he have to enter it all everything again. So that's why you guys need to understand this life cycle. Now you understood like what is activity, right? Activity is the part which starts from here, this until the date time, from here to here. Whatever you see here, it's all activity, nothing else. And what is fragment then? You see here, I have something called fragment, right? So what is fragment? Is smaller part of the view. So for example, you take the example of news app, right? News, where you show a breaking news at the top. This particular top, you show the breaking news, and you show all the detailed news at the bottom. right? This breaking news will be like scrollable. It will keep on showing all the breaking news part, and the below part will show a different scrollable. It shows different news, right? Now, the next screen, you click on one individual news channel, news page, and you go inside and you are reading it. And on top also, you have to show the breaking news, right? If at all the user needs, I mean, the creator needs something like this, a breaking news should be shown in multiple activities, right? You should create breaking news part as a fragment. Now, fragment is also something similar to activity, but it can be multiple fragments can reside on a single activity, but multiple activities cannot be put on top of single activity. That's not possible. Only one activity at a time. You should remember this. Only one activity will be visible at a time in any screen. But if you want multiple reusable screens that you want to put it in a single activity, you should start using it with fragments. So anything that you find like reusable across multiple screens, right? You have to build it as fragment and reuse it here. Here in one activity, you can put on top part, I want to put one fragment, bottom part, I want to put another fragment. And in next page, I want to use the same fragment again. That is possible with fragments. And fragment also follows the same life cycle as activity. Everything is similar. Only thing is it has extra callbacks, like when it attaches itself to a view, it will create like on create view. When it destroys from a view, it calls on destroy view. I mean, when it attaches to an activity, when it removes from the activity, those times it will be called like this, like on attach view, on destroy view, right? And yeah, with this, like I conclude this for a break. You guys have a break, right? Like you have a quiz session or something, right? Planned out for today as well.
Yes, Vignesh. We have a fun activity.
Yeah, then please go ahead with it. Like then after 15 minutes, I'll start with intents and navigation graph.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Mukund, I guess you can go ahead and make those breakout rooms.
Okay, so we'll be having a small activity and we'll be dividing you into breakout rooms. Mukund, are you doing the breakout room?
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
5 is enough, right?
No, 4 is fine.
4.
Yeah, okay. Wait, let me just. Oh, I guess 3 is fine because the participants count a little bit.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, wait. Who's going to room 1? I guess Varsha will be managing room 1. Swatika will be managing room 2, and Ravisha will be managing room 3.
Okay.
I'll just allot you. Wait, let me just move other leads to. Shall other leads be in the same rooms, or should I move them to room 4? Room 4 is just an empty space. Hello?
I guess you can, yeah, maybe. We had 4 breakout rooms, right? So how is room 4 an empty space?
Yeah, like 15 per room. So.
Okay.
30, 11, 12, 13 per room. So let me just.
Can I know, Mukund, just a second, why these guys are raising their hands? I want to know. If they want to ask anything, they can just go ahead and ask in the chat.
Yeah, wait, I just closed.
Krishna Aryan Sharma.
Yeah,
Do you
if
have
you
any
want,
doubts? If yes, then you have to wait until the end of the session so that you can ask it.
If you have any queries, you can just note it down, and we will open the chat in the end of the session. So wait till then. Okay, I will break the rooms now.
Okay.
Wait, let me just. Participants, you have been invited to the rooms. So to join the fun activity, join the rooms.
Mukund, Zoom chat is disabled. Can you enable it too?
Yeah, wait, let me just. Hello.
Yeah, Mukund?
Hello.
Yeah, are the chats working?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Harish, it's your turn.
Great. Let's see who is on the next one. R. Vasant, you are going to draw now.
Or anyone has. If someone is new, I can explain the game, or else I can just go start it. Okay, I knew this Scribble is fine. So Scribble is kind of a Pictionary game. So you'll take turns to play the game, okay? So you'll get 3 options and you have to pick one out of it and draw it on the whiteboard. Well, that's hard to guess.
Varsha, did you share the link?
Yeah, I did share the link in the chat.
Can you share it again?
Yeah, sure, sure. Okay, it's gumball. What's gumball? Kind of game or what? Something like baseball or something? Yes, that should be easy one. No, it isn't. Please keep posting your. It's not a locker. Okay. Why do you think it's a locker, Abhishek? It's Samsung.
I
Oh,
just guess.
nice. There's mobile phone, my fine. Okay. Go on, Ujjwal, your chance. Okay, it's not sunglasses. No, what is it? Okay, that's mustache. Oh my god. I heard it was sunglasses. Fine. Is everyone still in the game? Cool. Nice one, tennis. Cool, Abhishek, you're leaving. At least you guys are working out. Okay, this is very close to what Mukund wrote a while ago. Oops, oops. Okay, that was Galaxy. Who's Ryan? Yeah, it's belt, but it's seat belt. Okay. Mugila was so close to it. It's a four-letter word. Hey, Abhishek, how do you guess the word so quick? Oh, word, small. Nice. Mukund, I guess you can unmute and speak. Are you still there?
I am.
Wonderful, I got immersed in the game. Finally got guess one word. Yay. Oh wow, Abhishek. Congrats. Hey Mukund, you got a second place. Nice. Okay, you guys want to play a game?
I just guessed one.
Yeah.
How did I get second place?
Maybe like your guess was too fast.
Because you were quite quick.
Yeah, exactly. So do we still have time, Mukund?
I guess that's it. Like it's 7:24.
Nice. Fine then. But thanks for participating, guys. Thanks, Ujjwal. I guess you are the third place, right?
Wait, let me just check the other breakouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, breakout. Let me just. Hello.
Hello.
I guess breakout room 1 and 3 are completed.
Oh, okay. 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, almost done.
Okay, cool.
Okay, it ended. Okay. Harini is first. Oh, what happened?
Hello.
I think Vigneshwaran can continue with the session.
Sir?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. I
he's
guess you can carry on with the session.
Sure. Thank you guys. Like, let's continue our training. Like, we'll do this navigation part now. Let me share the screen. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay. So from this session, like we've learned like what is activity, what is fragment, right? We have another 30 minutes of time. In this 30 minutes, I will take like 15 minutes to explain what is implicit intent and explicit intent. What are intents first? Then next 15 minutes, I will try to cover navigation graph, and we will use the same project, or like let's create a new one. Okay, let's create like file open, sorry, file new project, and same like empty activity. Yeah, so now from as I said earlier, right, you see this is one activity. From one activity to another activity, if you want to traverse, right, like how do we do that? Like you say you take this any app, like let's take Gmail, hope it opens. So now you have got it, and when you click on got it, it move to different activity, right? And then you click on back, it came to the previous activity. This navigation is happening between activities through something called intent. And intent is of two types. One is implicit intent, another is explicit intent. What is implicit intent is you are implicitly defining which class I want to go. So I want to go from this activity to that activity. I'm giving the information like this activity only I want to go. That is implicit intent. Another is explicit intent. What explicit intent is, you are saying like I am in this activity, and from this activity I want to go whichever activity supports this feature. Like you have this share icon in any of the app, right? You click on it, there will be a window opens, and it shows all the apps that it supports, right? Like WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. You click on it, it directly goes to that page with all the data populated, right? That is called explicit intent. Let's see how to do for that. Like we have one activity, right? Let's create another activity. Say you go new and go here, you will see something called activity, and you find like empty activity, and name it like detail activity, right? And in this first activity, whenever you create some activity, right, you will see some entry here that the activity record will be added here. And this is a default activity, launcher activity. We have something called intent filter, which defines like when you click on the app icon, which activity to launch. That is your main activity. And you created another activity called detail activity. So your manifest will have all the information. Like you go in flight, right? You see manifest, flight manifest, like what are all the things that where you're coming, from where to go, this information, right? The same thing is called as Android manifest. And in your activity layout, you create a button for navigation. So you go here, you remove it, and you say button wrap content, and you put a text saying go to detail. Take this, you place it here. Now place another button here. Go to other apps. And you refactor it to detail button. Other app button. And in your main activity, if you do not use data binding, right, you know how to access it, right? Like detail button equals find UID on dot id dot detail button. Well, other equal find view of id or id dot other app button. So we have to create an on-click listener, right? So let's create a detail button dot set on-click listener and other app button dot set on-click listener. Let's create from detail button. Let's move to detail activity and display some content, right? Like here, let's say I put one text view. Text view. Detail page. And to increase the font size, you can simply say text size and put it like 16 SP. For text size, like you need to put something like called SP, and for positioning, you need to put something called DP. So I place it here. Yeah. And put ID to it. Always create an ID for every view so that you can able to access it outside. And in your detail activity, we'll do that. So now to traverse from this activity to that activity and pass information, right? You need to create something called intent. So let's say val intent equals intent dot put extra, and you need to create a key value pair, say detail underscore extra, and pass information like navigation from main activity. So you are passing this information, this navigation from main activity This information you are passing from main activity to your detail activity using the key detail extra. Now for navigation from this activity to that activity, right? You have created an intent object. That intent object you need to pass it by calling start activity. We'll see something called start activity and pass the intent. Now that you've created intent as public, right? I mean intent with normal constructor, right? It is not meant as implicit intent. So it doesn't know which activity it has to go, right? For that, you need to add the information detail activity plus job. So you are passing the context like saying from this activity, I am moving to this activity, and this extra thing is called like to access the class information. This is like this is something called reflection in Java. If you would have heard about reflection, so let's just understand like this is a detail activity we are navigating and we are passing, and the other is explicit intent, where you do not know like which app that you want to navigate, like you want to pass information to all activity where the user uses and clicks on it. Say well intent equals intent, right? Intent dot set action message action view, not view, it's something like let's see, action send. Okay, explain. Let's copy this code. Okay. Action is action send, and the type is text plain, and put extra text is to send, right? And you're going to have to put like start activity intent dot create user. So here you are going to start the activity send. Here and here you find some difference, right? Get string, right? I don't need get string, I can directly put it. You find the difference here, right? Like here it's like you are defining to this activity you want to navigate, but here I did not declare. Here what I'm declaring, the action is I want to send to whoever have that action as action send. What is action send? Like whoever is having like Android intent action send as the intent filter, and the type is text underscore plain, and the extra text that I want to send is this. Let's go to our detail activity, and we are passing this information, right? We have to get that information, right? Like how to get it. Here's something called get intent, right? From this intent, we have to identify get string. The string is only we are passing, right? And we have to put the same text that we are putting here, detail extra. Now this value will be there, data, and data is not null. What we are doing is equals find view by id dot we created something, right? What did we create? A detail DB. Let's say detail text. Equals it is your data which is passed under this lambda, like without I mean, if the value is not null, then only it sets it. So let's run this app and see how it navigates. So the other app, like if you use like this common thing, right? Common share, like WhatsApp and Instagram would have implemented some code like this in their pages. That's why it is receiving that information, and I'll show you like how it gets populated. If you click on go to detail page, right? And you'll see the navigation from main activity, the whatever the text that we have passed gets populated, because it takes the value from here and sets the text here. Now, if you go back and click on go to other apps, you'll see something called this. And this is populated and say which app that you want to send the text. So these apps have added the intent filter like this, like whatever is inside this action, Android intent action send. They have implemented this in their manifest file. You see here in the intent filter, they would have added Android intent action main, and also they would have added Android intent action send. So Android, whatever the apps that you've installed, it will search for the Android manifest, anything, any apps that has the intent filter as send, it identifies it and displays it here. Now you click on Gmail. Okay, it needs email. Okay, then what else? It's supposed, like, say, let's go to messages. Okay, this also needs some. Okay, this emulator, so it does not have many messages. Maybe you can copy it and see whether it's populated or not. Paste. Whatever the text that you pass here is, this is my text to send, and the text is that is getting populated in the extra text. So that this is called implicit intent, and that is called explicit intent. So this is how you navigate between activities. But most of the apps that we use in real world, right, will not navigate between activities at all. So the apps which we have built and all will have like single activity, only one activity called main activity, and on top of it, it will have all the screens as fragments. So you will be navigating between fragment 1, fragment 2. You will push it, pop it, remove it. So that's how your normal apps that will have work, that will have built, that would have been built. So this navigation is just for learning, but the ideal navigation happens using the navigation graph. Let me ping this in the chat. Like I download this so that you guys can download it and see it. I will also download it now. Downloads it. And import this. Let's put this in desktop. Yes, I'm finding difficult to identify it. Okay. Meantime, it runs, right? So navigation graph is something like, it's called like storyboard. So where you define like which screen is what is going to traverse from which screen, like fragment A to fragment B to fragment C. All this navigation, you will define it in one single XML, and you will, on click of button, we are writing this all boilerplate code, right? Like fragment or transaction, those things are not required. You just put on an ID saying it has to navigate from this fragment to this fragment. So for that, you will create a entire navigation graph saying something like a storyboard where you say a story starts from scene A to scene B to scene C, right? Something like that, like you create fragment A to fragment B to fragment C. So for that, like you need to add the navigation graph different dependency. It's a part of the Jetpack. Once you added the dependency, you can start using navigation. So it downloads all the dependencies for this particular project, and after that it syncs it and make sure like all this code completion happens, right? This happens through this way while it builds, right? Let's go for another small uh Slido, like the next one is like a common question, one app that you cannot live without. Say the Slido URL is 981.58.589. So don't say like WhatsApp. So I know many of you say, just tell anything other than WhatsApp. One app that you cannot live without. Google is too generic. Google app, like that's a news app that you're saying. It has all the Google information. Or you're saying like all Google apps, saying Maps, Google Chrome, and things like that. Okay, YouTube. Cool. Google Play. Google Play. Why do you need Google Play? Without Google, there's a Samsung App Store is there, and there are like other providers. MI has its own App Store. Google, Google Meet. Okay, you do have Zoom. VS Code. VS Code. Do you have VS Code app in Android? I didn't know that. Games apps. Okay, I think majority of you people are saying YouTube. YouTube Music. Yeah, that's great. That's a great app. I got addicted to it and bought the YouTube Premium because of that. And PUBG. Cool. So YouTube is, many people are saying YouTube, and YouTube is a great app. Like it has like tech content, it has fun content, it has everything. And Spotify as well. Gmail. Okay. I think you guys use Gmail. One guy is going to use Gmail every day. Yeah. Cool. Decoder. What is this decoder? I don't know what is this decoder. Oh, it's a program on mobile. Is it okay? Write your own program, compile it. Okay, instead of PC. Fine. Spotify, YouTube, and decoder. GPay. Amazon Prime, Link Music. Cool. Zomato. Yeah, I thought like somebody would have put Swiggy and Zomato. That's cool. Many said YouTube, Spotify, decoder, Swiggy, Ola. Oh man, like you guys travel a lot. Yeah, cool. That's great. Weverse. Never heard of those. That's something. Reminder app. That's a great one, man. Yeah. Dunzo. Anyways, thanks for putting this out. I feel like the winner is YouTube, and the next one is Spotify and Swiggy. Let's moving on to this. Like here, the project has been built. Let's say we run it and see what it actually does. Meantime, I will open and show you how the navigation graph would look like. So here you have the main activity, right? You would have seen like what is main activity and all, but you see other things like list letter fragment, word list fragment. What is fragment? Fragment, you see your activity extends something called app compat activity. App compat is like not required. You can simply use activity, but app compat is something like it supports the same features to the Android versions like Lollipop. I mean the older versions of Android. So you need to something called app compatible activity. So if you go to fragment, you see something called it extends the class called fragment. Then you will have the same thing called on create function and on create view. In on create, you can get access to the intents. Here activity, you will have something called intent, right? In fragment, it is called as arguments. And in on create view, you will create the view, inflate the view. That's something that you do it here, right? Set content view. Same thing you will do it here in on create view. And in view created, once the view is created, this callback will be called. That's where you will do modification to your view, adding recycler view and stuffs. And you have on destroy view where you have to put binding to null so that your memory is not too much collection. You know, there is something called garbage collection, right? The Java do not, Java or any program of per se which does garbage collection on its own will not collect it on its own, will not collect it frequently, right? It runs on its own pace. So if you do not want some variable, you can directly make it to null so that your memory will not be so much constrained, which is something like you're deallocating the memory, similar to something you do it in C++. I think C++, I think you do it in C++, yes. Modern day programming does not want you to do it like this because they have something called garbage collection. And in your main activity, you will launch the fragments using the nav host fragment and nav controller and set up action bar with nav controller, and you initialize it which nav controller that you want. So this code of piece can be explained with this. If you go to resources and you go to navigation, you will find something called nav graph. You open it, you see this page where it explains like how the navigation is going to happen. Someone asked, right, like why can't we use VS Code? You use VS Code, you will see only this code. It looks small for now, but you take a project of a big enterprise app, right? It will have like very big navigation. The page, like the home page will have like lots of navigations. From that it goes on and on, like it goes like forever. Like the page becomes like it will have like 200-300 lines of code. When you use VS Code, right, you will not understand anything. But if you use Android Studio, right, you will simply see the navigation flow direction. It will show with arrow mark from here to where it navigates, and you will see the UI also. It is easy to understand. So that's why it is suggested to use Android Studio. Of course, it's a personal choice, but I would feel like once you use Android Studio, you will never go back to any other IDE for Android app development, and even for Flutter. And in this nav graph, you will declare like this fragment navigates from this fragment to this fragment on, and the ID that you create, and using this ID in your activity or word list fragment, you will navigate. So here, letter list fragment. Where is it written? Letter adapter. Yeah, here you see find, hold it or find nav filter and navigate to this action. The action is an action letter to this particular fragment with the data that has been passed as an arguments or this, and you're calling view.find nav controller and navigate. And when you call this function, it will call this particular action. This action is declared here. So it will navigate from this to this. So this is the concept about navigation controller, and we'll see the example. The first activity that is launched here is this, and you click on any word, it will show all the list of words from it, and you click on it. I think it just displays it. It goes to Google Chrome to search for that word or something, and it has explicit intent as well. So this has three functionality: implicit intent as well as explicit intent. You go back, you click on any word, and you click on individual word, it navigates to Chrome to display that word. It is written in word list fragment. You see here, word list over letter list fragment. Not in letter list, then word a letter adapter. Yeah, here. No, it's accessibility. Okay, it must have been written in somewhere. Probably like how it navigates to Chrome. Let's find it out. Like you can search like intent query. So you press like Command Shift F. You will open this, and whatever you type, it searches across the app. You can search like intent, and you will find like in word adapter you have something called query. This is where it is written. So on click of button, you find the word and intent action view. Action view is like how I mentioned, right? Any app in your back in your phone have put an intent filter like view will come under action query and context or start activity, and they put it. So Chrome is the only app which extended in this emulator, so it navigated to Chrome and from the query and searches for it. So this is how navigation work. I think I think I can conclude it in a matter of time. Like I've reached like 8 o'clock. So any questions like we can spend some time for asking question like for next 10 minutes or something. You guys have any question to ask? You can post it in chat group.
Participants, do you have any doubts?
Define multiple values in construct or the syntax. Yeah, that we did, right? Like in any class in Kotlin, right? Say, for example, you have, let's open that previous one. Let's open scroll. this is multiple params to a constructor, right? This contacts without any data is single value without any without any param. Like you are putting like multiple values to this constructor. This is how you define it. That is same with any Kotlin class. You just put comma and put another param. Can you explain intent once? Okay, so intent is like okay, let's bring this navigation. Okay, so in intent, right? One is implicit intent, another is explicit intent. Implicit intent is there are two types of intent. One is implicit and explicit. So here you are defining from this package. I mean, the package context is, so this is your package. The package name is like com.example.navigation. In this package, there is a class called detail activity. I want to go to that activity. That is you are defining. That intent you are framing, and in that intent you are putting extra value and starting the activity. And explicit intent is you do not know which activity you want to go, because you do not know what WhatsApp uses activity, right? You do not know what Instagram has the activity. So for that, you simply create an intent and put action as intent filter, like whichever intent filter that you want to send. Android intent action send is one of the intent filter. Any app per se, like Instagram, WhatsApp, or Google messages have this intent filter added in one of their activity. It will show in the list, and you click on it, whatever information will pass, they will handle it however they want. That's how the share button, like you take a screenshot and then there is a share button is there, and in WhatsApp it shows, right? It is the same concept. You put an action send, instead of text plain you will put like image PNG, and you will pass the place where the screenshot is there, the URL of the screenshot, like a file name, file folder where you have stored it, and you create a chooser. Then Instagram, WhatsApp opens and you select on it, it will do that handling there. I hope I answered. And this one is like license agreement. This happens because you would have not, your SDK is not installed properly. For that, like you go to tools, you open SDK manager, right? You click on SDK manager. If it's like partially installed or something, right? You click on this and uninstall it. I mean, you click on remove and apply, it will removes it, and then you install it again. It shows like build tools of 30, right? I think the 30 is not installed properly, or the license agreement check mark is not checked when it's download, right? You select like API 30 and you click OK. It will okay, it will ask for like license agreement ideally, so that you have not done. So that's why it's you do this. You go to tools, you go to SDK manager. That's it. And it would be great if you can allow me to unmute. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other question?
Yeah, Nathan, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in the cube dice program that we discussed yesterday, you pass the constructor value to the class itself.
Cube program. What is it? Roller dice? Is it?
Yeah, dice.
Okay. Constructor value. Dice object. Yeah, here I initialize. Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I thought like you initialized it in the class itself. So
No, that I've done initially. Then I extracted it and later put it outside.
Okay. So one more doubt regarding the syntax.
Yeah.
So you said when is similar to switch.
Yeah.
So we do have break statements in switch. So after one condition has been checked, we break out of the loop, like switch case.
Yeah.
So how does when works? Like if the first statement is true, we get out of the when, or it will go on with 1,
No,
2, 3.
it won't go. So even in switch, right, you have a break statement which does not make any sense at all. Like, why do we need break there? Why it has to go? If you want to go to the last one, you would obviously write it the program that way, right? So in Kotlin, there's nothing called break. So here when is something called as expression. So it's something related to if else if and you write a condition, and again you write else if condition. When is something like this, so you don't have to put break here. For else if you do not put break, right? Similar concept.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, cool. So
Participants, if you have any other doubts, kindly do ask, raise your hands. If not, like, leave the session and do fill the feedback form.
so if you guys are, sorry to interrupt me. So if you
Yeah.
guys want to reach me, just go to this link, and there is a LinkedIn link is there, GitHub link is there, and I do have I think LinkedIn is fine. Like, you can just put there and direct message. I will be happy to help you. Any doubts or any query, any app that you want to do. So I hope that would be better. And coming to the session, like I think like Android, I think I've kickstarted like your Android app development. I think you guys can work on this thing next. Connect to internet, design pattern, microfriend. So you go to any company, right? The first thing that you will work, like you will call multiple APIs, or single page will have like 5 to 6 APIs firing and the data going back and forth. And you have to think about how to handle it with less memory, with memory constraint, without leaking memory. Leaking memory is another concept that I will explain later. Android have something called leak memory. So you should deallocate it. So these are all the concepts that you want to work. So for now, this is enough. I think this will not have much impact. I think view model and live data, if you use, you can minimize the memory leakage and apply it with corresponding life cycle. And you can work on like connecting internet, calling the API, fetching the data using libraries like retrofit or Android fast networking and all. Cool. That's it. Like, you guys have any query, just follow that link and connect me through LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Vigneshwaran, I think you haven't shared the link.
Share the link for, like, I pasted it in the chat.
Can others see it? Mukund, can you see it? Because I can't.
Oh, sorry. I replied to the direct message. Sorry.
Okay, great. Now we see it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. It was great. It was nice that I think you guys will start using Android from now on and build something great apps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I guess Ravisha can finish the.
Yeah, so yeah, nothing more to say. I just want to thank Vigneshwaran for joining in for 2 days straight and taking this time to share his knowledge and experience. And I think one of the two things that I really liked is the session is being recorded. So any of us can go back to these sessions and, go ahead with all the concepts that are taught, and they can try to, revisit what was taught. And I think it would be very helpful for all the respective DSCs for this Android Study Jam campaign. So I wish all the participants all the very best so that they come up with nice apps in Kotlin and they are able to submit their app successfully on Google Play Store. So guys, there is a link in the chat and you have to fill it to give your feedback, and we'll be more than happy to receive your feedback. So also reach out to Vigneshwaran for any of your queries because he's also very happy to help. So I think that's it for the session. Thank you everyone for joining the 3 days and all the very best for the campaign.
The YouTube links will be shared to your respective GDSC's WhatsApp groups. So if you have any doubts, you can refer the videos. And as told, we will be sharing this link with you too. So if you have any doubts, you can contact them. Or if you have any doubts, you can contact your facilitators. They will be there to help you out. So, and finally, the main date for submission on Google Android platform is on Jan 10th for the Kotlin app. So you have to submit it to your GDSC facilitators by Jan 8th so that we can shortlist and submit it to Google. So if you are building the apps, do build it by Jan 8th and submit it to the facilitators of your respective GDSCs. Then we will submit the selected Android apps to the Google Android Study Jam given by them, and we will inform you about the further details later.
Yeah, and guys, do try to complete the course. I sent the link in the chat box, and yeah, pretty much everything is covered.
Thank you everyone once for joining.
Thank you so much, participants, and thank you so much to all the coordinators, and thank you so much, Mr. Vigneshwar and Nilangovan, for these great 2 days. It was really informative, and we learned really lots of things. I specifically knew about Kotlin, and it was fun. It was really great to learn a new language. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah, anything you can reach out to me for. If you have any stuck with building the app for submission, you can reach out to me. I can help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a great
Thank
day.
you, guys. You can leave the meet.